Okay, today is Friday, April 7th, 2023, and it is a pretty nice day. Still pretty cool, unusual for April. Usually it's pretty warm this time of the year. I guess the cold weather is still trying to hang on. But it's a pretty nice day to do some garden work, and I have a lot going on, and some of the cool weather plants are just doing so amazing right now. And in a few weeks I'm gonna have to cut these off and then put peppers out here. So before we do that, I thought I would take you around and show you what I have growing on in the garden, and sort of like give you a tour so you can see what's happening. And for those people that are up north, I think that the season's not quite here yet, so this may be something you can watch in the meantime while you wait for your season to come. So anyway, I have a lot of vegetable growing. These are cool weather vegetables, so I always eat a lot of arugula, so I love growing them, and I just throw them all over the raised beds. And look at this, they're just full of arugula. So look at these guys, they're just so nice and beautiful this time of the year. And when the weather starts to warm up a little bit, that is when they start to take off. And look at these plants, guys, they're just so many. And basically I just toss a bunch of seeds just randomly all over the place in all of these raised beds, and I just wait for them to grow. So you do this when the temperature is kind of cool. So I do it early March because it takes around 30 to 40 days for these guys to get to a good size. And once it gets into April, that's when they're at the max, and then they will start to bolt once the weather gets warm. And so if you love arugula, make sure you start them when the temperature is still nice and cool. And then here I have one of my other favorite vegetables, and this is miner's lettuce, guys. I love these things. These are just so nice and tender and just so delicious. And so I just eat them raw. I eat them in a salad. I don't cook them because they're so tender, and they seem to cook too fast, and so I just eat them raw in a salad, and that's the best way to use them. So these are just so interesting. They start out with these kind of like these triangular leaves like that, and then as they get larger, they produce these flowering stems right here, and it had a little circular thing that wraps around the middle. The middle is a flower, and then the flower will get older, and then inside those flowers you will have these little black seeds. And if you let them go to seed and seed themselves, and then the next year you just get them growing all over again. So they're really nice. I highly recommend you grow them. They're very easy, and they love the cool weather. And of course I always grow radish. The radishes are sort of like volunteer. I mean, these guys, I didn't grow them at all. I have seeds dropped from last season, and then I just let them be, and then they just grow. The thing with radishes, they can grow massive, and when they do that, they block lights from your other plants. And these are the small ones, but I'll show you some of the larger ones that I have. They can get enormous. These are daikons, so they do get massive. And then I also have the Japanese giant radish, and I'm always having problem growing those. They never create any bulbs. They just create a bunch of leaves. So I'm still trying to dial in and see what I'm doing wrong, but still haven't gotten large bulbs. I get little ones, but not the large ones that I want. So that one is probably one of the most challenging plants for me to grow so far. And here, these are Malabar spinach, and I just got rid of the raised bed over here because it was rotting away. So I pulled it out, and I decided I'm gonna let grass grow back into this area. But because the Malabar spinach seeds dropped last season, they're all over the place over here. And some of these are shiso, perella. These are nice too, so I let them grow because I'm gonna harvest them later. My mom, she loves these because she cooks them and make tea, and so they're very easy to sort of like pull up. The roots are very shallow, and so say if you want to pull them up, you see, like that, and then you cut the bottom, and then you can use the upper leaf, the upper part. You can cook them into a tea, you can eat them, or whatever, and they're really interesting. So that's why I let them grow all over the place. And I'll show you another accidents that I have that cause these seeds to grow everywhere, but I actually don't mind because I like them. And so these are Malabar spinach, and I'm just letting them grow a little more because these are best when they're at a like 5 or 6 inches tall. I'll just cut the whole thing and then I'll just use them. But if you let them crawl all over the place, they can get very, very big, and they can crawl all over the place. And if you let them crawl over all your other plants, they can probably choke it as well. So but I love these, so that's why I let them grow. I don't mind, and I'm gonna cut them very soon. And again, they're very easy to pull up. You pull them up and that's it. So no worries for those. And here's the radish I mentioned. So you see how massive they get? That they do get bigger than that. This is just a small one that I left inside the pot. It's a volunteer. The flowers attract the bees, so I just left them there so that I can bring the bees and the other beneficial bugs into the garden. So that's why I let that one grow. I'm gonna pull that out pretty soon because I need that bucket for something else. And here I have wild arugula, and these are all volunteer. I had one arugula bush, the wild arugula, and then it went to seed, and then the seeds dropped. I just water these, so that's why it kind of fell over, and the seeds dropped, and then they just started to multiply. And these are really nice, guys. These are awesome. They taste very much like the regular arugula, a little bit spicier, but I do love the flavor. And I think it's just me, but I like vegetables that are slightly bitter, and so I love arugula, wild arugula, some of the other ones like mizuna and stuff like that, and mustard. I love those. And then yep, there's more right here. So the seeds just dropped all over the place. And lemongrass, those are the one I propagated. And then also these are Thai basil. I propagated those as well from just cutting in water. And then those are sorrel. I love sorrel, and so I can't wait for those to grow. I just got that bush from my mom because mine died last year from the heat. There's just sorrel are cool weather plants, so we had such dry summer, it killed my plants. But I was able to get more because my mom had a whole bunch of those, and just from that one bush it's gonna multiply, and I'll get a bunch this summer. And then I got rid of another raised bed over here, you see, and those are wild arugula. The seeds kind of like blew out of the container over there, the raised bed, and then it grew over here. And so those are pretty nice as well. And then here as well, right here, I got rid of another raised bed that rotted away, and so I'm gonna let the grass grow over this area for now. And look at these are all shiso. These are 2 different colors. These are the purple ones, and these are the green but purple at the bottom. So these are very common in like Vietnamese dishes. They're very popular, and people use them for many different reasons, especially to use in some of the noodle dishes. And so they're very nice. And so my mom said let those grow because she wants them. And then once they get a little larger, as I mentioned, I'll just cut it and give her the whole plant, and then the roots will come off, and then I'll just compost the roots, and that's what I'll use those for. And so they're great plants, so I don't mind them growing all over the place like that. And here I have asparagus. I moved some of the asparagus, but I didn't move everything, so there's this one little section left. And look at this, guys, they're nice. These are good asparagus. There's not that many because I moved the rest of them already, so I only have a little bundle left. But these are really nice and sweet. And I have I'm watering the plants right now, and I have these persimmon trees. Guys, I love persimmons. If you guys are looking to grow a fruit tree that produce well, tastes great, low maintenance, and it's just an overall great tree, persimmon is one of them. The fuyu, make sure you look for the fuyu because those are self pollinated varieties that produce just such delicious fruits, and they're very, very sweet. So if you have not had those, you can go to the Asian supermarket and try them out. But the thing is, the ones in the stores, they do taste pretty good, but the one on your tree that you pick tastes even better. So here's what the fruit looks like. See, they grow pretty early. As soon as the leaves come out, the fruit will come out. And then they're very heavy producer. That's one good thing about persimmon. And when you buy a grafted tree, they produce very early. Some tree will produce in the first year. Some tree will produce in your second year. So those that you buy like at your local nursery, those will probably produce in the first year. And here's the one that I grew over the last few years, and that is a massive tree, and there's just fruit everywhere. Look at this. Ladybugs and stuff love to come to these trees, and so those are all the fruits. So every single branch will have fruit on them. See it? And yeah, they're very easy to maintain and easy to grow, and it will reward you back, you know, when you get into October. And I also have some hydroponic projects that I'm working on or have been working on, and I made 2 videos on this guy already. Look at this, guys. Look how massive that kohlrabi is. It is like so big, the biggest kohlrabi that you can probably grow. These are called the giant kohlrabi, and they're so easy to grow. I left them here, changed nutrients every once in a while for hydroponic. You see, that's the root system right there. It's non-circulating, so there's nothing pumping air into it, and so it's sort of like the cracky method, if you are familiar with that. So check out the video that I uploaded for this. I haven't harvested this yet, so when I do the harvest video, I may do the final update for this, guys. But it is massive. It's very heavy. When I try to lift it up to change nutrients, it is very, very heavy. And then I grew some in soil right here. This guy is the same age, because I started the seed at the same time, and I took one of the plant. That's the brother of these guys here. You see? And I placed it in hydroponic. And then I have another one. Let me show you. This one here, I don't know why it turned out purple, but that's also it started in my mini system hydroponic, and then I took it out because it ran out of space, and I placed it into this bucket, and I don't know why, but it turned purple. But it's from the same seed package. And then here I grew one in a big trash bin, and this one here, I think it got so much good nutrients from my compost that I made, and so it produces more leaves than the bulb itself. The bulb is pretty good size, but the leaves are massive, guys. Look at this. See, there's my hand right here. So it's got some really good compost, and so that's why it's grown so crazy. And here's my pear tree. So this year the pear is not producing many fruits. I think it's normal for me, because it seems to be the trend here. I get one heavy production one year, and then the next I'll get like 2 or 3 fruits, and then the year after that I'll get a lot of fruit. So it's kind of like a biannual fruit production. I think if you look it up, some pears are like that. It focuses all the energy in producing one year, and if it produces so much, it doesn't have any more energy for the next coming season. And then after that, all the energy will be free, and then it would produce fruits again. So this year, this Korean giant has, I think, like 2 fruits or something like that. But last year, it had a ton of fruits, and they're massive too. And then I have more arugula back there. And that compost system works pretty well. I just lift up the lid, put compost in there, scraps and stuff like that in my kitchen, and then it feeds the plant. Look how massive those leaves are. And then here I'm growing, these are French breakfast radish. These are like some of the best radish to grow, guys. I grow them every year. They're so reliable. They produce well. You can grow them in very close proximity. And I mean, I just grew like 1 package, I think, that I bought from the store, and then they have so many radishes that I couldn't eat them all, and so now they're starting to go to seed, you see. So they're producing flowers, and so 1 radish plant will produce hundreds and hundreds of seeds. So if you want to allow them to go to seed, you get seeds for like forever. And so look at how massive this thing gets. See, you harvest them when they're smaller. That way they're nice and crunchy and good to eat, but you can let them grow and they can get pretty massive. And so yeah, they're all going to seed, so I need to harvest those soon. And then I love growing chives because they are cold. They can tolerate the cold weather pretty well. So those are from last year. The snow, the ice, and all that didn't kill it. It just came right back, and same place it was, and it just loving the conditions. And so I love those in soups. I eat them in spring rolls and stuff like that. And so yeah, they're another great variety of plant to grow. And then here I have more arugula underneath my pear tree. You see that? I just throw seeds everywhere. And then I have upland cress. These are upland cress right here. It came back from last year. And you see these are starting to flower. So I need to cut those flowers off because I don't want them to drop seeds. Because I don't need them anymore. There's just so many of them. So here's what they look like. They're like watercress, but they grow better on land. And so watercress, you need running water to grow. They taste very similar, a little bit spicy, and very, very nice plants. So arugula back there, some more volunteer radishes, more arugula here, just arugulas everywhere. And see, these are upland cress right here. Those are great. And then I mentioned earlier the mistake that I made because last year I grew, look at this guys, I grew one huge perella, which is shiso, this one, and then I just let that. I was so lazy to cut it off. It got massive, and then the seeds dropped everywhere. Look at this. There's like a sea of them. Crazy, isn't it? So they all grow back on their own, but they're easy to get rid of. So I don't worry too much. All I have to do is just pull them up. They're super easy to pull up, but I see. And once you pull them up, that's the end of it. So these are great as microgreens. They're great in tea. So I'll be cutting a bunch of them for my parents. And then I'll get rid of these so they don't seed again. That way I don't have this crazy plants grown everywhere. But aren't they just so beautiful? Look at that. Just awesome. So this is sort of like a good problem. And then we have some more arugula. That is dandelion. Look how massive this is. If you grow your dandelion and you feed the plant well, you can eat the dandelion as well. So that they can get pretty big. Okay, and here's the raised bed that I'm preparing for my my peppers. I got my orange tree. These are mandarin oranges. Look at the little nice cute fruits right here. There's so many. I think a lot of them are going to drop. I just need a few and that's it. Fruit everywhere. Look at that. So they should drop some, and I'll just leave like, maybe 3 or 4. And here's the radish that I mentioned. This is the giant Japanese radish. And every time I grow them, they always go to seed. They don't produce the massive bulbs like I see on the package. I only get the little one. And see, these are the radish pods right here. And so this is the biggest I was able to get them. You see that? That was a volunteer actually. And these are the seed pods. You can eat them when they're young. They're pretty nice. You can pickle them, eat them raw. They taste just like regular radish. So sometimes I eat the pods. I have a video on that. If you browse my channel, you will see. But they produce a lot of flowers, and these flowers, the bees love them, and so that's why I left them there for now. And it also the thing with radishes is that they will attract aphids away from your other plant, and so that's another reason why I let them grow for now. Look at it, look at that. That's my little frog friend over there. You see that? I haven't seen that one in a while. So he's just hiding right there. So anyway, they do attract aphids to the radishes, and it'll leave your other trees alone. So that's another good reason to grow radishes next to your other plants. They grow easily. You can eat the radishes, you can eat the leaves, eat the flowers, you eat the pods. So yeah, overall they're just great plants. And then I have my fuyu. This is the giant fuyu. Look at that. This tree is only its second season in this spot. Last year I got 3 fruits. This year I probably get a lot more. But you don't want the small tree to produce so much, because you want it to focus on growing instead of fruiting. That way you get a nicer, larger tree. And this is my multi-grafted apple tree. And here's a really interesting thing. I'm not sure if you've seen this before, but this is really cool. You see that branch right there? That is a pear. So I grafted a pear. So look, that's pear fruit right there. So we're getting pear, and there's the graft right here. It's a 2-year-old graft, so it's been there for a while. And I grafted that onto an apple, and then just to make sure that I want to tell people that it works, I did another one. So here's a apple, and this top is a pear. You see? So it's growing. So that works again. So I did it twice. The Fuji, that's the Fuji variety of apple, and the pear is the Hosui, and that one is a Shinko. So any Asian pear will graft onto a Fuji. I mean, not any, but so far that I've tried. So that's if you ever want to try that, you should. Pear grafted onto the apple. And this is here. So you see my apple is starting to flower. And again, there's a bunch more arugula. I harvested the whole bucket right there. It gave me like a whole big bag of it. So arugula is like all over the place. And my last pear tree, also multi-grafted. I grafted all kinds of stuff on there. So this is a different pear variety. This is different pear variety. And here's another one. There's another one. So anywhere there's a tag. So all my pears are multi-grafted now. And those are chives. And these are volunteer lettuce that I just pulled out of the grass and to put over there. And here I have some more wild arugula. And then again, the wild arugula drops seeds. And look at that, guys. It drops seeds into my grass. And I got more wild arugula everywhere. So this section of the yard, we have a company that comes and mow the yard. But this part of the garden I manage myself. I don't let them touch this area. So I let whatever grow. And we have some kumquats. These are really interesting variety of little oranges. I love these. These are the miwa, super sweet and easy to grow and produce a ton. Just this is a really small tree, and I'll be getting lots and lots of fruits. And every time I eat the fruit, there's a lot of seeds in there. I throw the seeds into this area, and then the little plant starts to grow. And for those people that are interested in hydroponic, I have my apple. This is an apple variety that I'm growing in a 1-gallon bucket. I started it inside in a small hydro system, and it got too big, so I brought it out here. And so it's a non-circulating cracking method that I'm growing my apple. And this tree here, is how big that is the same age as the one I'm going to show you now. Same age as these right here. So I started the seeds all together, and I took one out and I grew it in hydroponic. And these guys have been neglected. I took out some soil, so maybe that's the reason why they're growing so slow. But that's the same seed that I took. And finally, I have some aloe. These are from, I overwintered these. I took it into the garage, and man, these things are massive, guys. Look how big these are. They're really, really big and super heavy too. And so when I take them in and out of the garage, man, that is some work because they're just so heavy. And then with that one, you see how many aloe there are? So many little pubs that I need to divide and give away. And yeah, I shouldn't let them do that because it takes all the energy from the mother plant, and the mother plant would not grow. And these are sugar apples that I grew from seed. And some more aloe. I just love aloe, so I use them in everything. And so that's why I grow so many. And look at this. This one needs to be divided. There's so many little babies. And that one here is the one I divided. And that one actually has all the space to itself. And that is why it's so massive. And when I took it out of the garage, you see these? This is sunburn. So when your aloe is in the garage for so long, it gets really weak, little amount of light, and then when you expose them to extreme heat right away, it's gonna turn this color. You see? So if this happens to you, that is the reason. You need to slowly adjust the plant into the sun so that it can get adjusted and grow well. If you take it out all of a sudden and put them in the heat of crazy sun, it's gonna burn. It could potentially kill the plant too. So if you overwinter them, you have them in the house. When you take it out, just take it out for like an hour, put it back. And then the next day, do 2 hours, put it back until it gets fully adjusted. And then you can put it into full sun. So now, after the sunburn, this one is fully adjusted. And so that is the aloe plants. I have so many. I need to transplant them or give them away. But that's it, guys. That is the update. And I hope you enjoy the garden tour. If you have any questions or comments, please leave it below. And thank you so much for watching.